Hey, welcome back. Day 4 of the Creativity Challenge. Get your project done. Or part 4 of the creative process is another way to look at this. Today's topic is about finishing, not over editing or trying to find perfection, which doesn't exist, but deciding you are done. And spoiler alert, recognizing that we are enough is a prerequisite for finding our creative project, creative work enough to put out into the world, to birth, if you will. And we're also going to talk about evaluating your process goals. If you've been following along from the beginning, you set a process goal or how to embark on your creative project. So looking at that, as well as celebrating how far you got, if you're completely done or if you're still in the middle, celebrating that partial completion wherever you are and normalizing celebration. Pats on the back for ourselves or formal ways of honoring and celebrating, not rushing to the next goalpost. So I know you're going to enjoy this episode of the podcast or this video, and stay tuned to the end where I will share again about my creative mentoring program that is available right now and how to get a taster by setting up a play date with me. My calendar is below, the mentoring program link is below, and the Make Heart and Manifest Your Creative Life Facebook group is below too. So if you want to connect with other creative, artsy, spiritual people who are consciously creating a life with art at the center, that link is below as well. So that's it for now. Let's get started. Hello. Back for another live. Good to see you. Good to be here with you for day 4. I held up 8. Day 4. Completing our projects. I know this was fast. And, you may not be done, but I hope that you are checking out this video. You're coming on here live or you're watching the replay, because this is about maybe honoring a stopping point. If you have a big project, it's going to take more than 4 days. I mean, I recognize that. But, thank you for taking part in this challenge. And this process, each step of the 4 days, you can use with bigger projects. You can return back to the material and pick up the pieces that are helpful for you. And, it's important to take little pit stops to reflect on how things are going and to celebrate even the small progress that we make. This is a wonderful ritual that you can add into your creative practice once a week, once a month, or maybe at the end of the day if you've had a studio day or a creating day. Just taking a few moments to reflect back. This is good in life in general and really good for creative projects as well. But before we get into reflecting and celebrating, I want to talk about something that I think is important related to completion, the art of completion. Maybe you're done already. What I mean by this is that a lot of our creative projects it's subjective when the ending point is. If you think of a painting, for example, when is it actually done? Or even a book, how many revisions before it's actually done? And this is true even in teaching. I used to teach at the university, and there's so much material you can offer students, even for a little mini challenge like this. There's so many things I could share. What is enough? And when is it done, right? And there's something I want to share with you that I think is important to understand, which is we need to cultivate a sense of enoughness within ourselves in order to find it in our creative work. Let me just say that again. We need to cultivate feeling enough within ourselves in order to feel that completion and enoughness about our creative projects, our creative work. So, what keeps us from having this enoughness in ourselves and in our work is striving for perfection. And the doubts is not good enough. And this can keep us with massaging, overworking, and never releasing projects to the world, or just releasing them in general, moving on to the next thing. Maybe we don't even share some of our projects, but they're done, But never feeling that our project is good enough, complete enough, or once again, perfect enough is the problem here. So these are doubts, as you can see, those limiting thoughts that can come up at the end of the process as well. We don't have to rush to completion. Certainly you don't have to for the 4 days be done on day 4. But there is a balance here, and you can tell the difference by how you feel. So if you're feeling curious of how to improve your work, energized, enthusiastic about revising, editing, you're experimenting, keep going. You're in the creative process, the juices are flowing, yes, go with that energy. But if you feel stressed, worried, or your inner critic is having a field day with your work, it's maybe time to decide it's done. And how you can tell it's the inner critic, it's like this vague criticism. Well, it's just not good enough. Or I just need to improve it. I just need to make it better. But there's no curiosity in that, right? It's just kind of like a vague dissatisfaction with it. So if that is the vibe that you're in, you've been working with a project for a while, it may be time to just embrace your imperfect ending and decide it's done. So I just offer you that for your own reflection on whether a project's done or not, and when you're in the middle of creating and when you're overworking, stuck in perfectionism and not enoughness. Okay, so let's move on to part 2 for today, which is about our process reflection. So we set a goal on day 1 about our process, how we want to do our creative project. So our project is the outcome, this is the process, the how of it. And it's really helpful to look at this midpoint and see what's working, what's not working. Just because it's an internal process that the world is not going to necessarily recognize doesn't mean it's easy. These process goals can be challenging, particularly if they're new ways of doing things. And nobody's giving us a party for she loved herself during the process. There's no debut for, boy, he's really committed, right? It's more, we get those big accolades from the world when we produce something, but not how we enjoyed. Your joy in your life is most important to you and your family, your surrounding friends. But, it is something that we can honor as creatives. And so just looking back at how you did, maybe you didn't do it 100% of the time, but notice where you were shifting into a new way of working or playing with your art. This is all about enjoying the journey, and we don't want to miss out on acknowledging those little wins. And whatever strategies helped you along the way, maybe it's something that I offered, or maybe it's something that you came up with as you were setting your goals or you're playing with your creativity. Put these in your memory bank, your toolkit, your treasure kit. Write them in your journal. Keep them somewhere handy, because when we forget what works, you can go back to that and be like, oh yeah, this is how I need to snap out of it. This is what I need to remember right now. Keep that as a resource for yourself. Okay, so the last part of today, this might be a little bit shorter live, I'm realizing, is about celebrating, but I don't want to rush through celebrating. Let's celebrate what we did complete, no matter how small. And those small moments where you invited in more play, more energy, more enthusiasm, more dedication. And we don't have to wait until we're completely done to celebrate. As I said, we can celebrate a good day of making, a good week. And we can look for the good, even if we feel we had a bad day. We can say, well, what actually was accomplished today? Maybe it's I was resilient during a tough time. That can be a win. So find something, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. And putting off celebrating is a way to, not enjoy the process as much. It's like delaying our good, right? Delaying our good until this big outcome, or again, the outside rewards, the outside acknowledgement. So we want to have our good now in the present moment, which is where everything is, where our life is. Our life is in this present moment. So celebrating ourselves feels very validating. It feels very nourishing. It feels very supportive. So find a way to celebrate you and your accomplishments, even if it's just a pat on the back and acknowledgement, that self-validation. Or maybe it's something tangible. Maybe it's a break, something that you really love doing that's not related to your creativity, but it's just, fun, some downtime. Maybe it's time with no agenda. That's one of my favorite rewards. This self-validation that I was just talking about as a way to celebrate is going to help with the next step. And I am going to be offering a bonus live video on Monday at 11 a.m. next Monday. And it will be posted if you're watching this after the launch of this challenge. But I'm going to offer a little bit about sharing your creations with the world or with others, and how to, this can feel very vulnerable if you're just starting out with it, and how to cultivate more peace, calmness, and excitement about doing that, rather than fear, dread, avoidance, which can be what happens when we think about sharing and we're terrified. It's natural to feel afraid about that because we want to connect with others. We want others' approval. This is a natural human desire. So, but how to share things that not everybody is going to love. Not everybody's going to resonate with your creativity, and how to make peace with that before sharing, so that you feel you are validating yourself, and then you can find the people that really connect with your work and want to maybe buy something from you, or collaborate with you, or work with you, or, just follow you, see what you're up to, see what you're going to create next. So finding those people requires that you, don't need that to be everybody. And so we're going to talk about that on Monday. In the meantime, please share about your projects in our group, in the Facebook group, because I would love to see what you're playing with, what you're creating, what you're making, how your process was. You can share your process, goals and accomplishments, what you're celebrating. Feel free to post in the group and introduce yourself and start connecting with me and with others in the group. So I think that's it for today. I didn't summarize. So let me just go back and summarize the 3 tips for completing, even if you're part way, having a sense of completion. First is, maybe you're done. Sometimes you just have to decide. If you find yourself overworking or stressing, maybe it is time to say, you know what, this is finished. The second thing is about noticing your process goals, your hows, and taking note of those little accomplishments, or those internal accomplishments, which sometimes are not little, sometimes they're revolutionary, and any blocks that you hit and what may help with that. What you could experiment with in the future. Take note of it in your journal so you can refer back to that. And then third, celebrate. Celebrate those little wins, those little accomplishments. Dig for them, find them, pull them out. Our mind wants to find the problems, natural survival instinct that our mind body has. So we have to be intentional about finding the good things and celebrating those things. And please come and join me on Monday for the bonus live and share in the group. Until next time, aloha. Well, we have come to the end. Thank you for listening all the way through. And I hope you have listened to all the talks in this series, because there is just gold on each step of the creative process, how to navigate it masterfully without pushing, suffering, struggle, forcing ourselves to create, but instead allowing, nudging, supporting ourselves. So if you want more support on your creative endeavors, I provide creative empowerment mentoring. And right now I have a 1-month package available with 4 90-minute deep dive sessions where you can break through any stuck points you might have, and additional skills in navigating your mind and body as your spirit expresses itself creatively. Along with those deep dive sessions, there will be 30 days of Voxer coaching. So that's those little in-between questions or moments where you want to reach out, get some feedback, get some support. That's a walkie-talkie app that you can connect with me on as well. The investment for this program is $1,250, and this is a life-changing program. So it is worth every penny of that investment. And if you want to have a mini creative breakthrough, you can sign up for a free play date with me, and I am going to bring some of the processes that I share, intuitive art play and intuitive card pulling or tarot, to show you how to easily break through stuck points rather than pushing and forcing. So you can sign up for that below. There is a bonus in this series which is about sharing your work that I'm going to release next week. So I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Aloha.